Partly sunny in Clinton at this time.
Local information that makes a difference. Here's your regional weather.
Today, we will see mostly sunny skies and a high of 90 degrees, a southeast wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour today. Clear tonight, lows in the lower to mid-60s. Friday, sunny, highs in the upper 80s, a south-southeast wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Showers and storms possible Friday night. Lows in the mid-60s, between a tenth and a quarter of an inch of rainfall expected. A 50% chance of more rain on Saturday. Highs of 80 degrees. Clear Saturday night, a low near 60. Sunday, a 50% chance of rain in the afternoon, otherwise partly sunny. Highs in the upper 70s. And into next week, Monday and Tuesday sunny with highs in the mid-70s. Right now, it is partly cloudy across central Illinois as we start this Thursday. 75 degrees in Bloomington, 74 in Hayworth, 72 in Leroy, 72 in Farmer City, 73 in Champaign, 72 in Monticello, 74 in Decatur, 73 in Lincoln, 74 in Springfield, and it's 77 in Peoria. 73, partly cloudy in Clinton. Southeast winds are calm, 100% humidity, 5 miles of visibility on this Thursday. Get the latest in local weather at DeWittDailyNews.com.
From Regional Radio, DeWittDailyNews.com, and the WHOW app. This is local information making a difference.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. News time is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. And news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. Central Illinois went from feeling like mid-March to mid-August almost overnight, and that quick transition has local authorities reminding residents of a few things to remember. While the hot and humid temperatures of the midweek are expected to be short-lived, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers on the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday implored residents to keep a lookout for their neighbors, especially those elderly neighbors.
We went from late winter to midsummer real quick. And, that concerns me a little bit that we've not had that prep period building up to the heat. We talk about the humidity we have in the low 90s. I mean, we literally went from 50 degrees last week to 90 this week. And we live in the Midwest. We understand that, but this is pretty abrupt. Mm-hmm. And so the first and foremost, I would say to check on your neighbors, to those elderly people, those folks that don't get out as much. Like I said, we don't have very much build up to this heat that we're having. And that concerns me a little bit that people haven't had time to get that air conditioning going and things like that, so it may catch us a little bit behind the 8 ball there. So check on those elderly folks, your neighbors, your family, things of that nature.
Yearly, Chief Lowers indicates the seasonal transition brings more folks out for walks and gatherings. He says this often comes with an increase in crime, and the chief points out this year in particular, there is an increase in thefts locally.
But with that, obviously, yes, also we've got a tremendous increase in foot traffic, pedestrian traffic, motorcycles, things like that. There's going to be people out later in the evening, the longer days, which I'm very, very thankful for. But that's also an increase in crime, something that I don't want to get too far into it, but it does feel like we have an increase in theft and things of that nature. And in a conversation here just in the last couple of days, I attribute some of that to some legislation, the elimination of cash bail and stuff. The fact of the matter is we have more criminals out on our streets right now because we don't keep them in jail because of the cash bail changes in our legislation the last couple of years. So where, I can give an example of an arrest that we made just last week, a burglary arrest with possession of controlled substance, 2 felony crimes. That hold a sentence of 3 to 5 years in prison, and yet that person's back out on the street within 24 hours with a court date to attend a court date 30 days from now. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, over the next 30 days, that individual is still out on the streets.
The chief offers his annual reminders for residents to remove all valuables from vehicles and lock those cars up. He reminds they encounter very few forced entries into motor vehicles.
Rather than, in years past, 10 years ago, when we had these repeated theft cases, that person was eventually incarcerated And so they were off the street. They were no longer a risk. I mean, we always have risks, but we were minimizing those risks because those individuals were incarcerated. And quite frankly, today they're not, or very seldom. And so they're repeatedly, it's kind of a revolving door. They're back out on the street awaiting court appearances, things of that nature. And we're dealing with them on a very, very regular basis, when not daily, just multiple times a week. And so I attribute a lot of our increase to that, is just not being able to eliminate those risks or those individuals that are out there continually committing theft offenses. So on that topic, we just ask you to be extra vigilant, in locking things up. We have very few forced entry burglaries or thefts. So many times it's a crime of opportunity where the individual, just has access to something, they grab it and they go. So just ask you to be a little bit more conscientious of the security around your properties.
With May Days just a week away, Chief Flowers reminds residents to be aware of closures that happen on the square and encourages attendees to keep those dogs at home. He becomes concerned with the responses of dogs in big crowds and the safety of others. The Clinton YMCA in recent years has expanded programming to Monticello in the summer program. Monticello Y-Zone Summer Camp is back again. Executive Director of the Clinton Y, Rennie Kluver, indicates Monticello is a Y-Zone Summer Camp, and Camp Osage looks very similar to the Clinton version of Camp Osage, with themed weeks, trips to Monticello's community pool, and trips to Allerton Park.
Yeah, it's been really doing well since the inception of starting it, which I think this is at least the third year, if not going into our fourth year. We don't call it Camp Osage, it's Monticello Y-Zone Summer Camp, because we do run the Y-Zone program over there, and a lot of those kids come back for it in the summer. And it's a lot of the same format and same activities. Caitlin does a nice job of filling up their schedule and keeping them active. They do meet at the Old Lincoln School, where we currently house our Y-Zone program. And so there's activities that they'll do there and some themes that they do throughout the different weeks. And then they do go to the pool, the outdoor pool over there in Monticello, and they take advantage of having that there. And they'll go out to Allerton Park. They'll go on different field trips, just like the kids do here. There's sometimes that they have a lot more not say a lot more, but more comparable to what we have here at Clinton. That it's really grown and been, I think it's been a great thing for parents in that community to have an option to send their kids in the summer. So I would say it may be a slightly smaller, but not by much.
Monticello Y-Zone summer camp registration is done all online this year. Kluver indicates much of the other aspects of the program mirror Camp Osage in terms of drop-off and pickup times.
It's really exactly the same, especially this year. And we've taken away the $2 charge for pre and post. They drop off at 7, pick up at 6, same price per day, same discount if you send your second child, and so on. So yeah, very, very similar. Exactly the same in the pricing. Registration is available online. If you wanted to download a copy, you can always just call the Y and get it set up just over the phone if that's easier for you. 217-935-8307. This is started April 1st. And so that's when we were starting to market it. And so, from now on until really registration never closes throughout the summer, because you don't have to register by a certain date. We're not worried about having too many kids to where we would have to turn anyone away. If that was the case, we would just get more staff people.
Clinton YMCA, Clinton COMMYMCA.org is the YMCA website. And if Monticello folks are in the Clinton area, they can stop by the Y at 417 South Alexander Street, or again, call 217-935-8307. State Representative Dan Calkins is endorsing State Senator Darren Bailey for the Republican nomination in the Illinois governor's race. The Decatur Republican broke down the 5 candidates vying for the nomination in the June primary. Representative Calkins discussed 2 long shots for the nomination, and Gary Rabine and Paul Schimpf.
Paul Schimpf, former Illinois senator, retired Marine, lawyer, great record, just not a very exciting candidate. He's running because Dick Durbin screwed him over on a judicial appointment after he decided, which didn't run for re-election to the Illinois Senate, where he could have easily won re-election. President Trump had selected him for a federal judge job. Durbin said okay, and then when the time came, he put the thumb down on Paul. It created some bad ill feelings. Gary Rabine. Gary is a self-made man, finished high school, started a business. He's done very, very well. Doesn't have any political experience, and he's a good conservative. This doesn't have a campaign organization, doesn't really have a following. I got some folks that like him, obviously, but not really a statewide following.
Perhaps the three candidates with the best chances at securing the nomination are Aurora Mayor Richard Irvin, businessman Jesse Sullivan, and Senator Bailey. Representative Calkins says Sullivan doesn't know why he's running for governor.
Jesse Sullivan is a very nice young man. Not sure where he comes from. He's a good speaker. I'm not sure, his internet web business. I don't know. There's just some things about him that don't match up. A very, very religious person. I think he's a good guy. Again, no government experience, has never run for office anywhere. Convinced some of his friends in Silicon Valley to give him $10 or $15 million, and he's off and running. Not sure he knows why he wants to be governor. Give him credit for trying, but I don't think he'd be very effective as a governor.
Representative Calkins has blistering criticism for the campaign of Mayor Irvin, calling them despicable, immoral people and accusing them of sending out twisted flyers nearly every day. He says Irvin has no platform to run on.
So we get down to the two main players. If you're like me, you go to your mailbox, every day, and you never know what's in there from the Irvin campaign. They've got now $50 million in their work. They're sending out these terrible, despicable, twisted flyers every week, twice a week. Their TV ads are very deceptive. They are focused on tearing down Darren Bailey and Jesse Sullivan. They have nothing to run on other than Richard Irvin was a mayor of the second largest city in Illinois. And if you dig into that, Aurora's not done very well. And that he was in the military, which is good. But they claim that, he's not a combat veteran. They quickly took down the first ad about it, the missiles coming in and blowing up, because that never happened. The people that are running that campaign are absolutely despicable, immoral people. And that's why we're seeing all of these terrible negative ads. So that kind of narrows it down, doesn't it?
Bailey and Calkins came to the General Assembly at the same time, and Representative Calkins believes Bailey will be a solid conservative with impeccable credentials.
Darren and I came into the House on the same year. He took on an incumbent Republican House member who kind of strayed away from his district, had voted for a tax increase or two, wasn't very active in his district, and Darren took him on and beat him in a primary. That was one of the most expensive Republican primaries in the history of Illinois. Darren outworked him and obviously didn't have the same amount of funds. 2 years later, a Senate seat opened up, and got all of a sudden, and Darren slid over to the Senate, and then pandemic hit. He took on J.B. Pritzker in a trial and beat J.B. Pritzker in court. He's been a solid conservative vote, a very strong candidate. He's got an organization all across Illinois. He's got over 10,000 volunteers, which is what it's going to take to beat Pritzker in November. Impeccable credentials. He understands the legislative process, serving in the House, now the Senate, and I think he'd be a very effective governor. I think he understands how things work in the General Assembly. I believe his administration will be able to get things done because he's built relationships and, has a good understanding of governance in Illinois, particularly when you're in the minority.
Representative Calkins announced his support for Senator Bailey on the WHOW Morning Show on Monday. It is 21 minutes after the hour here on this Thursday morning under partly cloudy skies to start the day. A bit muggy outside, 73 degrees and 100% humidity. We've got plenty more coming your way on the morning show on WHOW.
Having a hard time finding the correct new car, truck, SUV, or crossover to fit your needs? This is Scott Baum from Bob Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Some lots look low on inventory, so go to our website, look at our pre-order and reserve tab. You'll see inventory in transit, which are built and on their way to Clinton, and in production. New Chevys and Buicks, which are being built and will arrive soon. Or you can always call our sales team. They can help you find the correct one just for you. BombChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
22 minutes after the hour here this morning, coverage of news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Governor J.B. Pritzker is urging Congress to act quickly to protect women's reproductive rights. Illinois has done its part to make sure women can choose health care options for themselves, and now federal lawmakers must do the same, says Governor Pritzker.
It's long past time for this nation to codify Roe v. Wade into law. If it takes overhauling the filibuster, then overhaul the filibuster. If it requires countless hours of pleading and deliberation, then get to work. If it takes courage, find the courage.
The governor made his remarks at a Planned Parenthood clinic in the Metro East area, where 75% of patients seeking care are from out of the state.
This decision will not just take away people's reproductive rights. It also threatens their right to birth control. It also threatens their right to marriage equality. It also threatens all of the precedents that have been established around the privacy rights that were codified in Roe v. Wade.
Governor Pritzker says Illinois will remain a place where women are free to choose. Gas prices jumped 19 cents in Illinois in this week's Gas Buddy price report. Prices have seen a constant rise since the beginning of the war between Russia and Ukraine, and according to Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan, they are not going down anytime soon.
There's not much downside that I see anytime soon, and that is something brought on by the fact that demand is high. Refineries, that's a whole nother boat as well. Refining capacity in the U.S. is down by 1 million barrels a day compared to 2019. And that's really what's kind of creating somewhat of a disconnect between oil and refined products like diesel and gasoline.
DeHaan says Illinois ranks 6th highest in the country in average gasoline prices at $4.80, while diesel is averaged at $5.27, which is actually the 10th cheapest. The Illinois Supreme Court has appointed its first black woman justice to replace the retiring Justice Rita Garman. The court has appointed Justice Lisa Holder White, who currently sits on the 4th District Illinois Appellate Court, to fill Garman's vacancy. In July, the 54-year-old called the appointment the honor of a lifetime and thanked Garman and the rest of the court for their confidence. Holder White of Decatur began her career as an assistant state's attorney in Macon County. She then began private practice while serving as an assistant county public defender. She was named associate circuit judge in 2001 and circuit judge in 2008. She became the Illinois Appellate Court's first black woman justice. In 2013, Holder White has served as chairwoman for the Illinois Supreme Court Judicial Conference's Committee on Education, which plans and provides continuing education for judges. She teaches at the Biennial Education Conference, which all judges in the state must attend, and used to be an instructor for New Judge School. The 78-year-old Garman is the state's longest-serving jurist, announcing Monday she'll retire July 7th. She had been expected to seek retention to a third 10-year term in November, but decided to step aside because there won't be a vacancy before the June 28th primary election. Holder White will serve until the next election in November 2024. Illinois Farm Bureau President Rich Giebert got some one-on-one time with President Joe Biden during his visit to a Kankakee County farm Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. I didn't think I would have an opportunity. I had about maybe a minute and a half with the president. He didn't realize that I was president of the Illinois Farm Bureau until because Greg St. Auburn, the president of Kankakee County, was right before me. And he says, 2 presidents from Farm Bureau. And then we got that clarified. And then it went on for a conversation. But thank the president for all he's doing for agriculture. Hopefully that more to come. And I complimented Secretary Vilsack on a great job that he's doing in his administration. Moving on. And so, you have to take advantage of opportunities. And we'll see where it goes from here. But no, it was a great day. And And President Biden did a nice job.
President Biden announced measures to boost domestic fertilizer production and incentives for double cropping during his Wednesday visit at O'Connor Farms in Kankakee County. The crafting of the 2023 Farm Bill means organizations and commodity groups are weighing in on what they want in the legislation. Rod Bain has
A
more.
diverse group of farm and commodity organizations are starting to offer their thoughts, both formally and in public venues, about what they wish to see within a new farm bill. In several cases, this has come after a period of feedback solicitation from organization members, such as what Brad Doyle of the American Soybean Association and Zippy Duval of the American Farm Bureau Federation describe.
Since early 2022, ASA has held 12 virtual Farm Bill listening sessions, both by region and by topic, with interested soybean farmers across soy's 30 primary growing states.
We have a Farm Bill working group now that will bring in representatives from all 50 states. We look at the current Farm Bill to see how it's performing, try to find what might need to be tweaked in it, and then we move forward in the policy arena.
Congressional Agricultural Committees similarly are holding hearings to look at what has worked in the current Farm Bill and what can be improved upon within a 2023 edition. Hearings that have included testimony from commodity organization leadership about Title I, the commodity title.
NCGA has long advocated for market-oriented farm policies. Our focus continues on tools geared toward revenue, which factors in both yield and price risk that growers face. Agricultural risk county, ARC individual, and price loss coverage or PLC programs.
We would support examining how the Farm Bill safety net could be updated in the next Farm Bill for all Title I commodities to better match actual operating costs for producers.
Chris Edgington of the National Core Growers Association and Rob Johansson of the American Sugar Alliance, respectively. Grower and ag groups are also providing input on other Farm Bill titles. In the case of Cam Quarles of the National Potato Council, it is building upon 2 decades to see greater benefits within farm bills for the specialty crop industry.
How do we sit down with USDA and the industry, develop better data that will make more affordable, useful products?
While Nicole Berg of the National Wheat Growers Association says her members depend on trade, export, and market development programs within the Farm Bill.
The Title III programs are essential to build trust with buyers and end users who also look to U.S. wheat for advice.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
29 minutes after the hour here on this Thursday morning. Coverage of news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.